Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests and friends. A warm welcome to Wiener Bildungszentrum. The Wiener Bildungsakademie is proud to host the kick-off event of our project Turning the Tides. Our director, Cappar Hajo, will join later, so I'm happy to say some welcoming words to you. My name is Petra. I work for the Wiener Bildungsakademie, your hosting organization. It brings us great joy to have been a member of River Cities since the River Cities network since 2008. This network serves as a cornerstone for us in this collaboration today, and I'm very pleased to welcome back Iwona Preis in Vienna. Thank you that you're here. Thank you for all your work you have done for River Cities. I want to welcome also our guests from the Netherlands, Poland, Sweden, Greece, and especially Scotland. And this is so special because in times of Brexit and all this European division, we are very happy to bring our Scottish friends to this project. A very warm welcome to also Hannes Heide, who joins us from Brussels. He's a member of the European Parliament Committee for Culture and Education. And I'm also pleased to welcome Becco Baxand, Vienna State Parliament member and council and city councillor. And our moderator for today, Bernhard Müller, former mayor of Wiener Neustadt and today the managing director of the Urban Research Institute Urban Forum. I'm very honored to welcome you all here in the Wiener Bildungszentrum. This center was a center for the Viennese labor movement exactly 100 years, in the last 100 years. This place has always been a place of positive changing for our society, and these rooms have witnessed much, and so I'm sure that Turning the Tides project will also contribute significantly to shape a better and more sustainable society. But we are not here to just discuss, but to explore, specifically the impact of European art and culture on waterfront resilience in the face of climate change. Expect great speakers and discussions on the creative intersection of culture, planning, and responding to the climate crisis. I wish you all an interesting evening and all our members of the project 3 nice days in Vienna. As our president, Petra Bayr, cannot join in person today, we have a very nice video message from her.
Hello and good evening. My name is Petra Bayr. I'm president of the Wiener Bildungsakademie, the location you are in here currently. And as a Viennese, I know that many cities all over the world, but also in Europe, we are united in some common problems and some common challenges we face. And of course, environmental issues are extremely important for cities, for big cities, and for the people who are living in these cities. So I think that Turning the Tide as a title of our common program is a very well chosen one, because water is especially crucial for the quality of living of inhabitants of cities. It's also very important for the really accessible public services that provides people with water that has high quality and is also affordable, because we know when water is privatized, then the opposite is very often the case. So water is key, and I think that in Vienna we have a lot to share with each other, and the key idea of this project, to learn from each other, to have a cooperation, to get to know about challenges others overcame in different ways, is something that really makes a huge profit for all of us, that we can improve our services for citizens and for the city itself. In Vienna, we are very happy that on the one hand, we have just celebrated some weeks ago our 150th anniversary of our pipeline, of the so-called Wiener Hochquellwasserleitung, which is a pipeline that brings water directly from the Alps into the city, also these parts of the Alps where the water comes from is owned by the city, of course. It was a decision about 170, 180 years ago, and I'm still very grateful for all these politicians who made this really unbelievable great decision in this time and spent a lot of money that we still profit from nowadays. And we are also very proud about our Donauinsel, the Danube Island, which is on the one hand, a very modern protection of flooding from the city from flooding, and on the other case, it's also a great space for environment, for leisure, for vacation. We have more than 40 kilometers of beach in the middle of the city at both sides of the Danube Island, and that also improves the quality of the living from many citizens, and many Viennese really are in love with their Donauinsel. So I wish you all a very good exchange. I hope that you can enjoy your stay here in Vienna, and you will see it's really a very great city and the most lively in the world. Bye.
Thank you, Petra, from the video. And now I ask Hannes Heide, live from Brussels, to say some welcome words to us.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone, and my best wishes to all participants in tonight's conference on creative action for Uncharted climate emergency. I'm very sorry that I can't meet you personally, but my greetings from the 14th floor of one of the office buildings of the European Parliament in Brussels. And as a member of the Committee on Culture in the European Parliament, I'm particularly pleased to have the opportunity to address introductory words to your project, underlining the high value of the Creative Europe program. I have also a high interest in your project because I am the head of the supervisory board of the European Capital of Culture 2024 in my hometown of Bad Ischl. And this European Capital of Culture has quite a similar approach like yours, as water and the effects of climate change are in the focus of the program. And we also work in Creative Europe projects as well. So Creative Europe is the only funding program of the European Union that is directly dedicated to culture and achieves a great impact with a comparatively small budget. Just to mention, in the last period, the budget of Creative Europe for then 28 member states plus associated partner states was the same as the operation costs of the Paris Opera in 1 year. So this is at least one reason why we members of the CULT committee are fighting persistently and continuously for an increase in the Creative Europe program budget. And as the committee is also responsible for areas of education, youth, media, and sport, we demand higher budgets also for Erasmus Plus or the European Solidarity Corps. Not least in order to promote cross-sector projects such as turning the tide in the best way possible. This project not only connects 5 member states, Sweden, Poland, Greece, the Netherlands, and Austria, it also clearly shows that art, culture, and climate protection are more closely linked than we might expect at first glance. So in this context, I'm also mentioning cultural heritage, which is under massive threat from the effects of climate change and is triggering a chain reaction. This is also having a negative impact on our economy and especially on tourism. Turning the Tide shows how art and culture can address climate change on various levels, with a particularly focus on the themes of water in all its facets. This includes the fundamental issue of rising sea levels, the fair distribution of drinking water, and the accessibility of water resources for all people. My hometown Bad Ischl in the Austrian Alps is well known for well-filled water reservoirs, but we also experience temporary decline of waters, which might lead to shortages if the development, the climate change, cannot be stopped. So your project makes clear what a significant contribution art can make to pressing political and social debates of our time, and how culture is able to create awareness. And I'm also very pleased that Fable Vision, a partner from Scotland, can play a leading role in this project, even though the UK is no longer associated with the Creative Europe program. Together with other members of the CULT committee, I had the opportunity for a mission to Scotland this year and to experience the negative impact of non-participation on the creative sector in both sides. So I had to learn again what, for example, cabotage is and what it means for the cultural sector and how the budgets and the costs have to increase if you do cultural exchange. The European Parliament has taken first steps to enable the UK to reassociate, and now it's up to the European Commission and the UK government to finally drive forward a solution in the interest of the cultural and creative sector and in the interest of all citizens in Europe and in the UK. So finally, I would like to thank Iwona Preis, who has been building up a platform on the subject of water and culture in cities with a River Cities project since 2006 already. And I also want to thank you on behalf of the CULT committee for the invitation. Your project provides important input for us as political decision makers, and I am already looking forward to learn more about impact of European art and culture on the resilience of waterfronts in the face of climate change. Thank you for your commitment to a strong and united Europe with culture as a catalyst for all relevant areas of our society. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Hannes. Thank you for your nice words. And now I ask Iwona for her keynote.
Thank you very much. It was like music for my eyes. I was laughing all the way, especially when Hannes Heide mentioned the Creative Europe fund, which is the fund giving us the grant for this collaboration and many collaborations before. So yeah, it's getting warm. There are tangible consequences of global warming. The quality of water, mentioned here by Petra, Bayr, rising sea levels, devastating floods, extreme heat and fire, social and environmental injustice, population displacement, migration, as we know the word, the loss of biodiversity and species extinction. We, the people, are at the important moment where world leaders are gathered at the climate summit. We know that they are gathered at COP28 in Dubai. And Secretary of the United Nations, Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the other day, we meet at a critical moment. Emissions continue to climb, climate impacts continue to devastate, and people and planet continue to suffer. And he also warned that national governments cannot do it alone. And that it is time to move our steps from promises to action. It's clear that if we do not act now, the consequences will be dire. We need to take action to prevent any further damage of the planet. Delayed action will mean more extreme weather events, more deaths, more destruction, and less ability to recover. We must take the initiative to work together to find solutions to the climate crisis. We must look at the common challenges of water quality, rising sea levels, devastating floods, and devastating fires. We must create partnerships between governments and citizens to promote creative action for uncharted climate emergencies. Art can be a powerful tool to influence change, while also preserving creative integrity of the artists. So through European collaborations, we can work to ensure that culture is not diminished in politics. Also mentioned here in the speech, that we are fighting for the funds not being diminished, the money to us not being diminished. And that culture planning is part of the city planning, culture planning as methodology. This can help us to turn the tide against the effects of global warming. To turn the tide is the title of our project. And they take the action against the social and environmental injustice caused by the climate crisis. So let us come together and take action before the consequences become too dire. Not by coincidence, but pure defense, self-defense, while working during pandemics with self-guarding our post-industrial cultural heritage from devastation. The project was called Memory of Water. Our consciousness has grown, and we have created the next common action with the objective to turn things around. With the urgency of the situation, it's clear that we have only 20 years to do something. We will focus our energies on civic actions and initiatives over the next 3 years. We start the project now and we end in December 26. Connecting arts as powerful tool to influence changes, while at the same time keeping its creative integrity, is the added value of European collaboration in times when culture is being gradually smaller. In politics, not in the mind of people. Through partnerships and processes, a long-term act against all odds, a new approach to cultural planning, and the socially engaged and creative thinking of artists, we can begin to turn the tide and make a real difference in cities all around the world. Creative action for uncharted climate emergencies is the way forward. By exploring these uncharted climate emergencies and the still hidden but already devastating threats to our communities caused by climate changes, we can work together to ensure that our future is the bright one. So to contribute to meeting the 1.5 degrees limit, 6 European cities are working together in a 36 months project, learning from each other. Stockholm, Gdańsk, Vienna, Evia in Greece, and Glasgow in Scotland are engaging in dialogue with artists, academics, urban planners, local activists, and key stakeholders. We did it before. The project creates a pan-European conversation that will impact cultural planning and regeneration policy within participating countries and reach out to local governments, to citizens, to planners, to architects and academics. Anthropological mapping, residencies, labs, exhibitions, field documentation are activities taking place in 6 different countries. And in the core of the project, we have artists sharing and learning participatory interventionists arts practice, which means that artists are coming to each city, they create, they research the city, they research the situation of the climate change in the city, and then they create the artistic works. Resulting art interventions and events are linked to the local conditions. The objectives of the project are to create positive and open networking places, both physical and virtual, to pilot new ideas with target groups, to offer high-quality training and peer-to-peer learning, to explore transnational contexts and share on the EU level existing and new ideas for engaged creative actions for uncharted climate emergency, to find out how to turn the tide. So, who are the partners? Intercult, which I am representing, is an independent, very small NGO in Stockholm, Sweden. We have been working with international collaborations, grants, based on grants, on European grants mainly, since 1996, so we are not that new. I have been working at Intercult since 2011, starting with also river cities. So I am both the CEO of Intercult and the president of River Cities Platform Foundation. And what we do, we create collaborations, we share experiences, we work interculturally and internationally with different subjects, always connected to water, always connected to city regeneration, to urban planning, to artists, of course, culture as a powerful messenger, always connected to knowledge and exchange. Then we have also River Cities Platform Foundation and Fable Vision, not partners, but collaborators in this project. As you know, Scotland cannot be a partner anymore, but of course Scotland is with us as we have been working on those subjects for the last 10 years. Fable Vision, Liz Gardiner, she will be here tomorrow. Scotland in general and Fable Vision specifically, and also river cities, we all have huge experience of working on waterfronts. We have been working together with WBA since also 10 years on the waterfront here of the River Donau, and that is the continuation. The project is the continuation. We also have the Urban Culture Institute from Gdańsk, which has the experience in both local and international projects. Their domain is culture planning, mapping of initiatives, working locally with artists, with citizens, an organization, a city organization, but working very close to the local geography of the city of Gdańsk, where we also have been with Memory of Water, where we already researched in a way the climate threats around the area of the river in the middle of Gdańsk, but we would like to do it again from another point of view. In the first phase, we researched the cultural heritage. We also have Artit from Greece, working with the island of Evia. And Artit is a pioneer online gallery that connects and profiles visual artists by hosting monthly publishing opportunities. Artit will work with our digital exhibition and with our communication and dissemination, a very well experienced small organization in the area of communicating the messages. We will explore the island of Evia together and through this partner. And then we have Deer Hunter from Netherlands, Remy and Marlies, who are here also. You will present yourself in a minute, working fathers of or founders of the cartopological maps as a methodology of investigating, researching cities from both cultural and geographical point of view, anthropological. It's very complicated. I haven't seen it yet so much, but this will be in the core of our project, exploring in this way and creating an atlas of for explored cities. And last but not least, the Wiener Bildungsakademie. We have a common experience since 10 years as members in the River Cities Platform Foundation, from the Erasmus projects, lifelong learning in the former stage. We have been working on the project called I Improve with the change-making methodology, and the result of this project is the project which maybe you know, benchmarking Colors of Love, painting benches on the waterfronts of Danube for a couple of years, and that project is still ongoing. And it was actually created in our collaboration where all connected cities and partners did another project more or less connected to the waterfront. So, creative actions for uncharted climate emergencies to find out how to turn the tide, because we don't have time. Thank you.
And I also welcome Marlies from Deer Hunter, and she will show us a bit about her work. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, I can also. Perfect. Yeah, thanks. That will work. Good evening, everybody. What an honor to be here, to speak after all those important people. Might made me think that I might be from some sort of importance too, which is nice. My name is Marlies Vermeulen. Living in the Netherlands together with Remy Kruse. And since 2014, so about 10 years, we are making anthropological maps, whatever that may mean. I'll explain that in a minute. But before I go on what cartopology may mean, I would like to show you this. Oof, it's a very interesting projection, but I see it on the screen there, it's better. So if you want to have a closer look here in the room, maybe you see it better. And I was wondering, would you consider this art or science? Both, I hear immediately. Exactly. Would it be a map or would it be a drawing? Both, again. Would it be a written narrative or would it be a drawn narrative? I think, again, if I can say it for you very democratically, I would again say both. And I think that is exactly what maps, cartopological maps, and maps that we use today should be. Unfortunately, the maps that we use today look like this. Maybe you can, again, look on the screen or see it over here. This is a map of Valkenburg aan de Geul. Valkenburg aan de Geul is a very small town a very small town. I shouldn't say that because if they hear it, they will be very angry. But it's a small town in the south of the Netherlands where we have the river Geul crossing it. It's the fastest going river in the Netherlands. I don't think it means something, but still it is for the Netherlands quite something. And it has been flooding in '94 and in 2021, right after the corona crisis, very drastically, because the whole blue, black, purple area is the city center. Luckily, no deaths or people were harmed, but everybody had problems with the water. And if you look at the map, at the document, would you consider this art, science, map? What would you consider this? I would consider that a very poor document. A document that is made with only one set of data, technology. And I think that's a pity. I think that is very much a pity, and it's something that I think artists, cultural makers, whatever you want to call them, have a responsibility there. And that is what cartopology is really about. Cartopology is a combination of cartography and anthropology, and it is an attempt to make maps with much more engagement, much more commitment, and much more focus to the field, to the location, to where we are making maps, how we are making maps, how we are living at the place of which we are making maps, and what that means actually. So that we don't come up with maps like this to show a problem, but that we make maps like these again. This is a map of Alexander von Humboldt and Aimé Bonpland from the 19th century. It's a map that he made. It's called the sorry for my German, Geographie der Pflanzen in den Tropenlanden, something like that, but then with a very bad Belgian accent. And it is it is made of a volcano in the south of the southern part of America. And what I really found fascinating about the map is that it combines different disciplines. It combines different ways of knowing things and different ways of visualizing things. Alexander von Humboldt was clearly not only a scientist, he was also an adventurer, he was also an artist, he was also a great drawer. He could do plenty of things. I always say if I would have lived in his time, he would be my boyfriend, definitely. But that's not the case, so unfortunately I have to do it with his drawings. And what you see is on the left and on the right-hand side of the map, you see very small data. It is, for example, the blueness of the sky, because the sky gets bluer the higher you get. It's also the humidity, for example, that sort of stuff. And in the middle, you see a very beautiful, almost romantic drawing of the volcano. And that drawing has been somehow cut off. It's the grayish side, grayish beige part where you see all little dots or strips, and that are actually words of plants and insects that he came across while he was walking and traveling on that volcano. And you almost want to add a ruler to the map. You want to know at which humidity the snow would start and which plant he would have crossed at that point. This is the quality of maps that we should make when we are talking about huge, complex societal climate change kind of problems. This is the quality that we need. We can't make them only with the data that is made by technology, by big data, by all sorts of things. We need multiple people making multiple types of maps, being able to represent our places, our environment, our cities in a much richer way so that we can take decisions upon it in a much richer way as well. And that is what I hope Turning the Tide will learn us all together with the partners and with all the artists collaborating. Thank you.
Tamara. Now I ask our panel discussions persons on the panel. So Petra, Bernhard, Marlies and Iwona. Thank you.
Shall I take that one?
Dear hosts, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists, it's a great pleasure for me to be here in the WBA, so-called WBA, Wiener Bildungsakademie. It's an Viennese education center. And the title and the topic of our panel discussion today is Turning the Tide. It's very interesting for me. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bernhard Müller. I'm the Secretary General of the Urban Forum Institute for Cities Research, and we also have a small publishing house for public management and cities research. And one of our last books we published was called On the Tide. It's a geopolitical book, On the Tide, so I think it's very close to turning the tide. And please apologize my rough voice. I have a cold a little, no wonder in these times, so I have to apologize. I'm very happy and pleased to discuss with high-ranked persons. I would like to introduce on my left, Marlies Vermeulen from Deer Hunter, Den Haag. Great pleasure to have you here, Marlies. Iwona Preis from Intercult Stockholm. She's CEO of Intercult Stockholm and also president of the association River Cities. and happy to see you once again after a long time. Pekko Baksand, he is municipal councillor in Vienna and member of the Arts and Culture Committee. Pekko, happy to be with you on the podium here. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, turning the tide. It's a very interesting and actual topic, I would like to say. And I would like to begin with you, Pekko. You have known river cities and some of the involved organizations for quite a long time, I heard. And you once attended a meeting in Glasgow. Today we heard two keynotes, and after the presentation of the project, what is your assessment of the impact that art and culture can have on our water, climate protection, and generally on people?
So thank you very much for this very big question. I think now I should be a philosopher or a man who knows everything in the world, and I could answer this question. No, but first of all, I would like to thank you so much for inviting me, and I would like to thank you, Iwona, for your work since 2006. And your work is so important, and I could also attend this conference in Glasgow. And since then, I'm kind of a fan and a supporter of international organizations that are trying something that you are trying, and you are also achieving, namely interfere in society and in politics, inspire people, and inspire different countries and different cultures by people who come from abroad. This is very important. I myself, I came also from abroad. I was born in the Czechoslovakian Republic. Then we had to flee to Austria. So you know this also from your background. So, and I think that first of all, this inspiring coming from abroad and inspiring in society, politics, media, and so on is very important. But what can art do? I'm totally impressed by your presentation. I forgot everything what I wanted to say before because you are totally right. The way we are imagining our societies, our cities, our countries, the way we draw it, the choice we make in the color and in the stiffness of everything, it changes and it defines our way to see the world, and it defines our way to have either no hope to change anything, or to have a very much hope to change the world. And in my opinion, it is everything to change everything. We have to change everything in order to save the world. I'm persuaded by this, and in my opinion, not art can also help. In my opinion, only art can help. Art is the discipline that unites everything. In my opinion, I'm also a big fan of Alexander von Humboldt and all the old stars the old stars from the ancient times and so on. And they were all they knew everything. They were philosophers, they were artists, they were drawers, they were musicians, politicians. They could talk, they were rhetoric and so on. So in my opinion, we have to somehow come back, to this kind of thinking that if we really want to change society, the world, and especially economy, the way we are making economy with each other, the way we are working, very important. How do we work? How do we think about working and work and earning money? What is this? Earning money. Everything, in my opinion, it cannot be answered by only technical political answers. It has to be answered by philosophical and artistic answers, in my opinion. And I hope you know what you mean, because I myself am a little bit confused because of your presentation, because it was so
sorry.
it could confuse me a lot, but for the good. And that's enough, I think. Thank you very much. I hope you understood.
Thank you, Petra. We don't have the feeling that you are confused. You are deeply impressed and you are interested, and you gave your heart to these topics, climate change and a bright future for all of us. Iwona, I would like to continue with you. Before I ask you something, I would like to tell something about my organization, Urban Forum. We are very interested in the Danube region. And by this way, about 1.5 years ago, we organized an event celebrating 10 years the Danube strategy of the European Union. And by this way, unfortunately, in a very sad situation, we have a war front in Europe, and we became more idea how important rivers can be, also for peace, also for a fruitful future. And you are the director of Intercult, I mentioned, an organization active in the arts and culture sector, but you are also president of River Cities. Iwona, in your opinion, what are the biggest problems or issues facing cities with waterfronts? So water is life, but water can be also dangerous, I think so.
Yes, now I am impressed by your speech, so it's difficult to go further. I must just comment that this is such a good way to start the project, and I think that we will collaborate in such a good way with all those mappings and all other artistic tools which we'll be using, which we have been using on all rivers and in river cities in the projects during the past years. Well, the dangers are visible. The dangers are visible. Rivers, the levels of waters are rising in the rivers, of course, because of the melting ice and because of the global warming, and the rivers are changing. And the rivers in where they are in the cities, this is the main place of life of each city. With the biology, with the trade, with the tourism, with everything happening around, but also with the clean water for people living around, where the water for drinking water is taking from that river which is passing through the city. So we have many problems now caused by the climate changes, but also caused by us, human beings living in those cities, building in a way which is devastating the riverbanks, too close to the water, too close to I don't know. The rivers are suffering in the cities now, and the River Cities Platform Foundation, we are gathering organizations working on waterfronts like. The one which is the host now, and which care about what is happening in the cities. And I think that the subject of rivers hasn't been as important for 10 years ago as it is now. It has become much more in the focus of many organizations, of many governments, of many political bodies, which hasn't been the fact before. So I think that now we have a possibility to influence. Now we have the possibility to start working in a much more tangible way and engage politicians in the subject of water in the rivers.
Yes, and for someone who is very interested in urbanization, I have to say, without rivers, there would be no urbanization. Cities couldn't live in the past without rivers, and I think they also cannot live in the future without rivers, but we have to take care.
Yes, 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 and we have been actually working in a research project. It's another fund called SOS for Waterfronts. The last 5 years, with mainly architects traveling around the European cities and making new plans for the waterfronts, which are not really corresponding with the plans made by the cities. And in this way, trying to influence the politics about how to change the cities around the rivers, around the waterfronts, to absorb the climate changes, to absorb the changes with the waters, the geography, the quality of the water. And so I think that going back to what you said, it's so there are so many different occupations, people with different knowledge, with different experience, who can gather around the subject. We are working with artists, we are the representatives of culture, but there are also people who we can connect, like architects, like urban planners, like municipalities, and higher up in the politics, in the governments, around the subject. So we are like a magnet, creating platforms for conversations, which we are going to do in this project in Turning the Tide. We did it before. We are inviting so many different specialists, and they are often really astonished that culture is inviting, because there is often the other way around, that architects are inviting, or politicians, or municipalities. But in this case, we are saying, okay, look what we created. We are the messengers. We created a message about what you are doing, which is different than the message created by the scientists. But we can use both.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think culture can be a bridge for other political topics or other targets. Marlies, you had a very interesting keynote, but maybe not all guests, online guests, heard it before. So please say some sentences to your organization, Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter, responsible for mapping cities. What are your research questions in the Turning the Tides project, and what do you aim to discover?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe first then on what Deer Hunter is. Deer Hunter is a very small research studio in which we do anthropological fieldwork to to be able to map a place. So we don't do 20 projects at a time. We only do one at a time, and we live on the location where we work. So that means that we travel a lot, and each time we stay for a minimum of 6 weeks on location. We live there, so no 9 to 5, no, that's the artistic part. And from those experiences, we map mostly directly for governmental institutions. So that's what we do with Deer Hunter. Then thank you for your kind words. They put me a little bit off guard, so we equal there. But they're necessary too. I mean, not for me, but they touch me personally, because turning the tides and the whole problem with water and the climate change is something that I think here in the room, but maybe also online, we somehow agree upon. But it's not always easy to have like-minded people around you. Only look at how the Netherlands have been voting lately. There's a lot of people that think differently, and this project brings to me at least that we can have like-minded people all over Europe. Another research question that we might have with Deer Hunter is not so much what I would question, but what I can give to the places where we come, because on each location, each city, we will do our research, and we will be able to look with fresh eyes, not only to the place, but also to the topic, and that's also something that I found very, very important. And I had a third one in mind. Yeah, what I also think is a very a professional research question is, we always say culture and artists should collaborate on huge societal issues and on political issues. But how so? How do we do that? How do we bring them on the table? So the question of method, on how do we do those things, that is a question that I really have on the table within those 36 months of collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, you're burning for these questions and the topics. We feel it. No. It was great. Pekka, as we mentioned, a Vienna City Council member, and thus in a political position, what role does politics play here? Does politics need to do more in the area of water protection? What's your opinion?
I think we can always do more. It's never enough, but we as a city of Vienna, we can be relatively proud on on our achievements in the last 150 years. As Petra Bayr told us before, the fact that, for example, we have something like the Donauinsel, very, very big area only for green and for animals and for plants and for trees and so on. This is not something that fell from heaven. This was a big political fight. It was so big that even the government in Vienna split up because of this. You know, so this is something that brings so much value into the city. Not only as a recreation area for the Viennese, but also it brings fresh air for the Viennese and the surrounding and so on. But of course, we can do a lot of more. But I would like to say something to the topic you said before. So how can we do this? So in my opinion, it's always it sounds so good when we say politics and culture and arts has to work together. So how do they work together? In my opinion, there's one possible way to work together, so that politicians get more to use to think like artists, and artists get more to think to get used to think more like politicians. Or in other words, I'm a big fan of Joseph Beuys, and Joseph Beuys said everyone is an artist. Not everyone can be an artist, but he said everyone is an artist. I myself, as a politician, I also I consider myself as an artist, not only because I'm interested in arts and I was a musician in my previous years and so on, but what I do every day, or what you do, Iwona, connecting people, making up totally new stories, totally new narratives. What is it else than art? This is art. Or, for example, baking a bread for other people. In my opinion, everything is art. And until we understand this, that we are all in the same family, all the 8, or how many people are we on the world? 8 billion people on the world. We are all in the same family, and we are all artists. And if we understand this, that we are artists and we can change. What is artist? He can change the world, or she can change the way she thinks about the world. In my opinion, this is the power of art, you know. And this is what you are doing here. You are helping us, other people, to change this pessimistic view of the world, that nothing is possible and we will all die. So this is a possible view on our future, but another view is, in my opinion, be like an artist, think like an artist, try to think in things that are not possible. For example, try to think in dimensions that are not möglich, possible. For example, think impossible. Because artists do this also, and one of my favorite artists, Joseph Beuys, he made this in the 70s. He made my favorite piece of art, the 7,000 Oaks in Kassel. You know, he said, I want Kassel to be a green city in the future. And he said, okay, my piece of art is I will plant 7,000 oaks in the city of Kassel. today Kassel is a totally green and totally different city, and this is a piece of art, and it changed the environment, the city, the way the people think about their city, the planning of the city, and everything. It changed everything. This is why I think that art is the beginning of the change and not the way to do it. It is the beginning and the way to do it, and I think also the end of every political initiative. Yes.
Thank you. Allow me a small remark. I think Wiener does a lot in all these fields you mentioned, but in total we need more public spaces for culture and arts. So we need public art and public culture, because not all people, they have a lot of money to go to expensive museums. I know the leading role of Vienna, it's not critic, but in total I think we need more public spaces for culture and art. Sorry for these adding remarks. Iwona, what can art and culture actually achieve here? So I think it sounds like a summary. Isn't water protection the responsibility of politics?
Well, it's not a responsibility of art or politics. It's a responsibility of us all. I mean, we are destroying the waters. So why should we give the responsibility to others to protect it? We should do it. All of us sitting here in this room should do it. Work for the protection. And how about art? I think that artists, well, we cannot put the responsibility of protecting anything on artists. It's not the role of art or culture, but we can use art as and artists as messengers. And that's what we are doing in those collaborations. That I mean, culture. We shouldn't influence artists on what they are supposed to do or not supposed to do. Involving in politics is also everybody's choice and not any kind of pressure. We would like artists to land in a city, to see how this city looks like, how the waterfronts looks like, how the rivers looks like. Not all the cities have rivers. It can be other waters, like in Stockholm, it's a lake actually, and sea, and how the nature is changing, how human beings, citizens of those cities, are changing that nature, that urban surrounding, and make a visual picture of that change, which will appeal to citizens of the city and to the decision makers. This is the goal of our collaboration. And how to make this visualization is actually totally free. We would like artists to work in the open space, to use the spaces which are available for citizens free of charge, so not closed theaters, no ticketed spaces. We would like as many people to come and see what is shown, and we are there to promote what the artists will be doing. We are creating those spaces for conversations. So what is the role of art and artists in this situation is to showcase the problems of our cities, the problems of our living spaces. That's what we will be doing.
And unfortunately, we have a lot to do because we have not two less problems.
Yeah, problems are everywhere, but you know what is mine first I don't know, kick in this subject? It was a theater play. It was a theater play, a dance performance actually, about the global warming, where the dance company visualized the process of, I don't know, 50, 100 years, how it will look like on Earth during the years to come. And that was such a strong vision that I still remember the movements of the dancers, and I still remember the feeling of I had watching that performance. And I really believe in the power of art. We don't need to have another explanations. Just see and feel what the art is visualizing, and in this case, it will be the climate changes.
Thank you so much, Iwona. Ladies and gentlemen, Turning the Tide is a 3-year transnational project involving 5 European countries. Marlies, the closing question. What do you expect from this 3-year project? What insights are you hoping to gain?
I think I responded on that already a little bit in the first question, but what I hope, I just hope for joy. I just hope for a joyful project. And that might seem a bit silly, a bit naive, a bit like, haha, you get money from Europe and you expect joy. But with joy comes confidence. And with joy comes curiosity. And with joy comes open-mindedness. And I think those 3 simple aspects that come to my mind today is what we need to bring together artists, politicians, scientists from various disciplines together to work on what Rising the Tides actually wants to do. And let's be honest, if we all would be a bit more joyful, let me be naive, whatever. But if we would be a bit more joyful, wouldn't it just be a bit easier to collaborate? And that is what we need in Europe, not only between artists, but between everybody, I would say. So that is what I hope the project will do, yeah, besides all the insights and all the important things, yeah.
So from vision with joy to reaching the target.
Exactly, I think that would be great, yeah.
I tried to do a summary. Thank you, Marlies. A big applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Petra, Iwona, and Marlies. Dear Director Bernd Herger, it was a great pleasure to be here in the WBA. Thank you for your engagement, for the initiative. It was a great pleasure for me and my organization, Urban Forum, to be here with you on the panel discussion and to hear a lot of interesting impacts and things. And I hope you enjoyed here as guests in the WBA and also online. Thank you. Have a good evening.
I also want to thank you four, and also you guests. Thank you for the international people and also the people from Vienna. And now they are coming. As you may know, today is the Austrian day of Krampus, and so the bad Santa Claus. So we brought to you some chocolate. Even if you don't, the ladies first. The ladies.
Thank you so much. It wasn't necessary.
No Krampus for Pecco and me.
Normally Pecco and Bernhard should get a Krampus. But also, as we are an education institute, we want to give you a book. And I know, Pecco and Bernhard can read it, and I hope you speak a bit of German. Iwona, maybe you have someone who speaks it. It's a book of the chairman of the Social Democratic Education Institute. So, thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
And now, thank you to all people online watching this now or maybe in 3 years, and then we can compare what we have said today and what we will do in the next 3 years. Thank you all.
Conference in Haag.
Yes.